What is up, Tampa? I love this place. I know I'm from Orlando, but I love Tampa. But I will tell you right now, this is a wonderful, an unbelievable opportunity because I was actually supposed to speak in Orlando, but due to the fact that I was invited to speak at the Education Commissioner of the States in Washington, D.C., I flew in just this morning. And it was a wonderful opportunity for me to be with our National Teacher of the Year, who happens to also be an AVID teacher, Mr. Sean McComb. Very exciting. As well as with all the 53 other Teachers of the Year, in which we actually discussed and advocated for our platforms. And of course, mine is empowering the teachers through teacher leadership, and AVID itself is a form of teacher leadership, and also equal opportunity to education for all children, regardless of socioeconomic background, linguistic background, or educational background. So it was an amazing experience, and I'm so happy that it happened the way it did. Thank you to Mr. Steven, who made me available to here in Tampa, and I am now here to just want to talk to you a little bit, just to inspire you, as if you're not already inspired with what's going on now in this conference. And it's just a nice experience for all of us to come together. And you know, in education, as in any profession, there comes a moment in each day when you just need a little downtime, you know? And some people might do yoga. I don't know how they do that. Other people go for a run. Other people use other people as soundboards to talk, and other people use happy hour for that sounding board, right? And for me, I love to go and sit at my computer next to my cat who doesn't love me. And I enjoy my DML. That's my decaf mocha latte. And there, when I sit at my computer with my decaf mocha latte, I go on my favorite website. It's a plethora of beautiful photos of people and places from around the world, submitted by people from around the world. And it has such great things, some sayings and anecdotes and quotes from famous people, from Leonardo da Vinci to Leonardo DiCaprio. And some might be cliche, but others speak to me. And so when the opportunity presented itself to actually be a teacher speaker for AVID, I said, wow, I've really got to jump on this opportunity. But when I sat down to try to write, I actually kind of had writer's block. I mean, what are you going to say as an AVID teacher, from passion to productivity to light bulbs and learning gains to connection to content and having the toughest job you will ever love, to data chats and differentiated instruction done right, to the Florida standards and for the teachers that stand for you. And for those teacher moments that touch your soul, you ask yourself, why are we here and why do we teach? And so I took another sip of my decaf mocha latte. I attempted to pet my cat, who, as cat lovers know, will walk completely past your keyboard and ignore you. But the amazing thing that he did is that his paw touched part of the keyboard. And at that moment, everything went a little kooky, and then I pressed enter. And on it, on my favorite website, was an unbelievable saying that inspired me. And this is what I'm going to tell you. It said, when I was 5 years old, my mother always told me that happiness was the key to life. And when I went to school, they asked me, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I wrote down happy. And the teachers told me I didn't understand the assignment. And I told them they didn't understand life. And I thought that was such a profound thing to say, because that's what it was. Now, apparently John Lennon actually said that, but with the internet, you never know. You know what I mean? It's very hard. I don't know if John Lennon did it, because actually last week Abe Lincoln was talking about CrossFit. So I don't understand. But I digress. My point is that we do this because we're happy. We educate because we're happy, and we want our children to be happy. But in education itself, sometimes we're not that happy. And things happen to us, do they not? And when I first moved to Florida in 2005 and became a Florida educator, I quickly learned that acronyms and initialisms were quite apparent in public education. From ACT, AP, AR, AYP, ELA, ELL, ESC, to FRL, to IPI-DIPI, to IEP, to PD, to PLC, to RTI, and to the big R with the two T's and then the big T. I don't know. Oh my God. And I became so overwhelmed by all those initialism and acronyms, I was saying to myself, Calgon, take me away. And for all you youngins, you don't know that joke at all. You don't. But there was so much to learn, so much to incorporate in my daily life as an educator in a Title I school, 100% free and reduced lunch, 54% ESOL. And if teaching wasn't already challenging, being in all the meetings where letter after letter signifies more things of which teachers need to keep in mind, I was losing my mind. And what was really in my mind was that keeping up with the acronyms actually should have been their own reality show on e-television, because drama is definitely there with a lot of paperwork, definitely. So I didn't think that I could actually handle one more initialism, one more abbreviation, one more acronym. And then a woman stood up in the middle of a professional development on a Tuesday, Kelly Zulueta. She stood up. Yep. And she stood up in front of a bunch of tired teachers at Stonewall Jackson Middle School, who now is an AVID demonstration school nationally. Yes, thanks to Kelly. And she got in front of all these tired teachers, including myself, on this professional development, and all she just said was the word AVID. That's all she said. And it was then that the walls of discouragement came crashing down. This acronym spoke to me. This recursive acronym, as I learned, spoke to me. This play on words, this form of word was a genius to me. It was, because I was hooked on when Kelly said, she went, advancement via individual determination. I always think people talk like this. I don't know why I'll think they always talk like Jersey. Advancement via individual determination. The moment Kelly said that, I knew I was hooked. It was a connection, honestly. It was like, as silly as this sounds, a soulmate. I said, this is for me, this is it. I kind of do this, but I want to know how. This is in my classroom, but how do I make it more like AVID? How do I do this? I mean, isn't really that what a soulmate does for you? A soulmate empowers you, encourages you, and influences you to make you a better version of yourself. And so AVID is my educational soulmate. It challenges me every day as an educator to be better, to make me think, to learn, and to grow, so that I can make my students think, learn, grow, and go, and oh, the places they will go. And so actually, I quickly embraced AVID strategies, and even the acronyms. I can't believe it, all the things I just said about going against the acronyms, but there was something about the recursive acronyms of AVID that sounded truly so melodic, like perfect notes to a melody. Just forgive me, look at this. Wicker. And then all of a sudden it became a little bit more wickor. You know, it was just magnificent. Slant. It was a nice word, it was. And then my all-time favorite, which is simply an initialization, which was CRT, culturally relevant teaching. That was the one that got me. That was the one that got me. So all of those, along with the strategies I learned in the PD with my own PR, that's my abbreviation for personal research, and then all the summer institutes that I actually went to, they were perfect ways for me to reach, not just reach, but teach, reach, and then teach again my struggling English language learners. Well, at least I thought that. I was extremely empowered by every summer institute I went to. But then when I went back to my school, you would have been surprised. This is what I get. They're not going to get it, Sackman. Are you kidding me? Your kids? AVID? That's too hard for your kids. Your kids don't even speak English. Are you kidding me? We call them no speakums. You think they're actually going to be an AVID? No speakums. No, really. See, this is the hard part with me, because it's kind of like a bad comment that someone makes on one of your prized Facebook pages that you think actually when someone's going to like it 1,000 times. You know that feeling? Yeah. And then when they don't, you actually have to refrain from spewing out anything that you would do to regret something on social media. That's exactly how I felt. And I said, okay, I'm going to refrain from doing that. And I said, I'm going to take this emotion back to my classroom, and I'm going to take it out on my lesson plan. I did. I fervently typed away, and I grunted with each tap at the keyboard, almost syllabic, going, my kids can't learn, my kids won't get AVID. I was so frustrated, and this fervor only fueled another acronym for myself, AVID, advance victoriously in darn good lessons, but you know darn well I did not use darn. Yeah, that was true. But I did that actually by using embedded practices throughout the day. Rigor, relevance, yes, relationships, of course, but then the retention of that rigor and relevance in our lessons. I became the facilitator, empowering students to empower themselves and take control of their own education. I stepped back after a mini lesson, and then I watched the magic happen. I listened better. Me, the Tasmanian devil on a double espresso. I actually listened better. I did. I listened, I took notes, I observed, I looked at the learning process, I started to journal, I started to blog. I wound up Twittering and finding up amazing people who also collaborate and understand AVID the way I did as well. And so after each day, I would hear in various languages and broken English the struggles, but also the victories of the Socratic circles, the philosophical chairs, and the living, breathing Cornell note through all these different, ay, Missy, yo tengo duele de la cabeza, Missy, ay, mi cabeza, or, oh, Missy, j'ai mal à la tête, oh, mon tête, Missy, and Missy, ay, olha só, Missy, meu Deus, meu cabeça está dor. All that time just saying that I have a really bad headache now, Missy. That's all they were trying to tell me. And I loved it. It was music to my ears because it meant they were learning and I was also learning in the process. And so I just have to tell you that because I talk about my babies so much with such passion. My babies. I mean, you really think about it. All my kids would always tell me all the time, hey, Missy, you got kids? Yeah, I do, 120 every year for the past 16 years. And they are my kids, and I love them dearly. And that's why sometimes I feel like a mama bear, or even better, an alpha female wolf. I do, because you know how they can get. Yeah. Because no one can tell me that my students are unable to learn. Because every child has the right. And it is the teacher, the AVID teacher most importantly, who infuses that fire in their belly to do so. You see, in my multicultural classroom, each child's story is different, adding to another piece of the beautiful mosaic with his or her own color and personality. This mosaic of vibrant colors makes up the ESOL classroom, the AVID classroom, the face of the new American classroom. It's an intricate patchwork quilt. It's a delightful decoupage, meshing together all those various cultures, languages, ethnicities, socioeconomic backgrounds, educational backgrounds, and intriguing minds that may absorb knowledge at a different pace or actually in a different manner. That's the differentiated instruction we need for our kids, their own pace. And under one roof, engulfed in all this, within the confines of my room, are the banners of all the colleges of just the specific universities, colleges, and even technical schools that were chosen by my students. And that's how learning happened in every sense of the word. Every time. It is their right to learn. It is their right to receive an education, no matter what. Socially, mentally, personally, socioeconomically, academically, my babies, they are not warriors, they're warriors. I know that's tough to hear in a New York accent, but I'm gonna try it again. They're not worriers, they're warriors who enter a new land using a language they don't understand. And in one classroom, actually, just last year, I had 14 different countries and 11 different languages being spoken in one language, in one classroom, with the various socioeconomic backgrounds, educational backgrounds, interrupted education. It was wonderful, my little United Nations. It was controlled chaos, but it was crazy as well. It was all over the place, but you know what? AVID organized us all. Not just the unbelievably perpetual stereotype of Cornell notes and a white binder and tabs, that everyone thinks that's all what AVID is, but actually it was so much more. It was a way that it created a culture of learning among the cultures of my students by infusing all of their cultures together as we learned. It was an incredible experience, but there's something you need to know about my classroom as well. There are no light bulbs that go off in my classroom. And people say, what is she talking about, no light bulbs? But there aren't. Because I tell my students all the time, hey, listen, when you get a concept, that's great, but it's not that light bulb that goes off in your head, because you know what? Light bulbs eventually burn out. And we don't want your learning to do the same. And we don't want your love of learning to do the same. So I tell my classroom, it is not about, aha, I got this, Missy, I got it. Nope, it's about, woohoo, I know it. A big difference, because that means they're retaining that knowledge. So that means that their learning is a permanent glow of knowledge that surrounds them. It is that intellectual confidence. It's that aura of academic swag. Yes. And that word constantly last year, because now I'm out of the classroom and I miss my kids dearly, but I keep in touch with them a lot. But out of last year, all they talked about was swag and having swag and having swag. And when I said to them, okay, we have a lot of acronyms in AVID, I want you to think of one yourself. And I remember one of my students, Yuen Huen from Vietnam. So I said, think of an acronym that you would say for the word swag. And she goes, swag. Instantly, like this. She goes, so, watch as I go. I said, so watch as you go? She goes, mm-hmm. So watch as I go. Where are you going, Yuen? So watch as I go to college. I want to go to USC, and I'm going to go there. And I went, okay, I love it. I can't believe it. It's an unbelievable experience. And I said, okay. Fast forward to 9th grade, where she is now in Oak Ridge High School in Orlando, Florida, where she is leading and mentoring other students to go into the AVID program. She is continuing in AVID, continuing to excel, continuing to do amazing work, continuing to do community service, and I love it. And when I ran into her recently, because I love doing reunions with all my babies, and I ran into her and Rockinson and Maria and Edgar and all these students from around the world, from Saudi to Guatemala to Mexico to Haiti to Vietnam. And they said, Missy, you remember that swag we talked about? And I said, I don't remember it. Which one is it? And they said, well, so watch as I go. And I said, yeah, well, get this. So there's Rockinson in the back going, swag, 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 swag. And then the girls, all 4 together, are going, I'm so avid. You already know I'm going to college, so watch as I go. I'm so avid. You already know I'm going to college. Watch as I go. And I don't know, that's what they were saying to me. And I said, you know what? All those times I loved it. I laughed and I loved it, but then I start to get emotional. And I know you will too in this experience, because I talk about being a mama bear. I talk about being that female alpha wolf. Watch out, boys. I talk about that because I'm so protective of my kids when they're in 8th grade, and I want to follow and I want to see them, but then there comes that moment where you have to become that mama bird. That bird where you turn around and you have to empower your kids to empower themselves, and you have to let them go. You have to say, I did my part. And when you do, and then when you meet up with them again and you see it, you see those children really involved in what they're doing. And they're no longer children, but they're young adults who are growing and becoming like these beautiful children in front of us now, like these kids right in front of us now. And we did our part. So the mama bird, what do? We push them out of the nest and we let them fly. And I can watch my kids and I keep in contact with them and I see that they are flying. They're flying high because they are truly understanding the importance of education, college and career readiness, and all done through being in the AVID program. And I feel so proud that I did that. And you should feel so proud about what you do. But they should most importantly feel proud about themselves, about what they have accomplished. And that's the most beautiful thing, because we can have the acronyms of AVID. We can have the acronyms of SWAG. It's a wonderful feeling, but we really actually need to, in which you mentioned, as well as the superintendent mentioned of Hillsborough, mentioned the word believe. And believe happens to be the acronym when I became Teacher of the Year. It's a simple word, believe, if you think about it. But when you break it down, B-E-L-I-E-V-E, B, the educators who lead to inspire and empower via excellence. That's the new acronym. That's the one we could think about. So as you go and get empowered, as you go and think about the next school year and what you're going to do as the mama bird, if not, or if the mama wolf, be careful of that one too. But when you go out there and inspire those kids, remember to believe, be the educators who live or lead to inspire and empower via excellence. May we inspire our children, and may we always continue to believe. Thank you.